Hello everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga in Salt Lake City. This is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Welcome. So for Soft Flow, we usually start in seated. I'm standing at the moment, but go ahead and take a seat and let me explain what we're going to be doing today. So Soft Flow is really designed for any level of yogi. So if you've never done yoga before, or just a little bit of yoga, or if you're, I would say, a yogi that's been practicing for a long period of time, this is the practice for you. I break things down in a way so that you have a success. And the main portion of the practice is about taking care of yourself. So we move slowly, we don't do too many poses, and I do a lot of breaking down and modifications of postures. So for our practice today, I've called it basic balance. So we're going to be doing some balancing poses. Now, so for balancing, mainly we're going to be balancing on one foot. That's for a couple of poses that we'll be doing. But there's some other ways to balance, even on 2 feet, that we'll practice as well. For our props, since we're going to be doing some balancing, I'm going to suggest that you have, this is why I'm standing at the moment, that you have a chair. It could be a chair with a back like this, okay, so that you can put your hands on. Now, if you don't have a high back chair, maybe the seat of a chair, now that will be lower, but you can certainly use that as balance. Now, if you don't have a chair nearby, that's okay. You can also use a wall. I'll be using both. So I'll be using my chair, and you can just use a wall or just something nearby. It could even be a table for some of the balancing. Because I really want you to focus on being able to, stand on one foot and just have the awareness of what's happening in your body, because we might be holding it for a longer period of time. That's why you want to have a little bit of support using the wall or a door or a table or a chair. So let me just move my chair out of the way this way, and we're going to go ahead and take a seat. Here's some other props that we'll be using for this soft flow practice. So I like to use a blanket since we'll be sitting. There's also some kneeling in our practice, so that'll just protect your knees and your wrists. So a blanket, maybe a couple of blocks, yoga blocks, or just something firm. It could be a couple of books, like hardbound books, some thick dictionaries, for example. Or if you happen to have some yoga blocks, grab a couple of those. It can even be some soft pillows, just for the things that we'll be doing today. And then lastly, as an option, maybe just a big pillow or cushion. This is a yoga bolster. It's very firm, it's very comfortable. It could be a cushion from your sofa. It could also just be a pillow, but you don't have to have this. You might use it for your Shavasana practice. That's at the end of class where we lie down comfortably. That's it for our props. So we're going to go ahead and start in seated. So go ahead and take a seat. Feel free to sit on your blanket or pillow. And if you can cross your legs, go ahead and cross your legs. I'm sitting in half lotus. This is comfortable for me. You don't have to sit like this. You can sit in what's called easy pose, just kind of crossing at the ankles and shins. Or if you need to or want to extend your legs, that's perfectly fine too. Or if you're using that chair, go ahead and sit in a chair for this first portion of the practice. So I invite you to sit nice and tall, get comfortable. You just want to feel a nice lengthening in your spine. You might start with a few deep breaths. You want to breathe in fully through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or through your mouth. Do that a couple of times just to get reacquainted with your breathing. And it helps you to move into this moment, to be more present. And then you can continue with slow, steady breaths in and out. Just mindful breathing, the awareness of each inhale and the awareness of each exhale. If you're able, listen to the sound of your breath. So if you need to, just turn up the volume of your breath so you can hear it. And even notice how your body is responding to your breath. For example, as you inhale, you might feel your body just straighten up, a nice lengthening in your spine, growing tall, while the breath rises and expands your lungs. And then when you exhale, as you're able, draw your navel inward towards your spine. It's a little pull. You're actually just engaging the abdominal muscles. You don't have to pull too strongly, just an awareness of this section of your body. So again, as you inhale, just feel the lifting and lengthening of your spine, feel the expansion of your lungs, and then exhale, engaging your abdominal muscles. Just a light engagement, and do that a few more times. You can do all of this with your eyes closed if you'd like. You can certainly keep your eyes opened, but just take a soft gaze forward or downward. I like to call this our breathing meditation, just to get in tuned, connected, and grounded. In a moment, we'll add a very simple movement to our breathing practice. But first, take 3 more slow breaths in and out. And then when you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out and up into the air. Treat it like a nice stretch, like you're reaching for the ceiling. Then exhale, extend your arms out, and then back down by your side. Let's do that together one more time. Inhale, extend your arms out, a good reaching effort. Reach all the way up, feel the stretch. And the exhale, reaching outward with good energy, arms come back down by your side. Now go ahead and continue to breathe and move at your own pace. You don't have to move with me, just move at your own pace. Very simple movement. You want to feel as if the breath is moving you. I like to imagine like you're filling up a balloon. When you fill up that balloon with helium, for example, the balloon expands and wants to rise, but only because there's helium or that air moving into the balloon. Pay attention to the sensations in your body. There is good energy in your arms. There's kind of this reaching and stretching quality as you reach out and then all the way up as you inhale. Same when you exhale, extend the arms out as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you, and then let the arms come back down. Go ahead and complete the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Take your time with this. And whenever you're complete, you can just bring your arms back down by your side. You can even just let your arms and hands rest in your lap, let your shoulders relax, and notice that transition from the body in motion now to a body in stillness. Take a deep breath or 2. From here, go ahead and bring your hands behind you. Just going to lean back onto your fingertips or your palms, whatever feels right for you. I usually go back onto my fingertips. With the arms behind you, there's a kind of a natural drawing back of your shoulders. And as you do so, do a little extra squeeze of the shoulder blades together behind you, or just feel the shoulders draw back. And then tip your chin up just a little bit, not too much. From here, take a nice inhale and press into the floor with your hands or fingertips, breathing in fully to fill up your lungs. And then on the exhale, draw belly in towards spine, that light engagement of your abdominal muscles. Inhale, feel the breath rise, filling up your lungs. Exhaling, navel to spine, and as you're able, squeezing shoulder blades together a little bit more. Just really pay attention or feel the sensations that are arising in your body. Again, as you inhale, you're pressing into the ground with your hands or fingertips. Your arms will fire up. Feel the shoulders draw back. Chest expands, navel draws in. Take 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, just lower your chin so you're looking directly forward. You can walk your hands toward yourself here to sit up nice and tall. And again, just bring your arms down by your side or in your lap and feel that transition to stillness. And return to the awareness of breath. I like to call that a mild back bend, a mild seated back bend. So let's take a seated forward fold. If your legs are crossed, I'm going to invite you to uncross your legs and then reposition the legs so you are in cobbler's pose or bound angle. So the soles of your feet are touching here. Here's some variations of the posture. I like to do this seated on a blanket. But as far as the positioning of your feet, you can draw them in closely so your heels are close to your pelvis. That does require a good bend in the knees. But if you need to or want to, you can always take the feet way out in front, like so. So there isn't so much a bend in the knees. I can even see that my legs are kind of at a 90-degree angle right here. So whatever works best for you. And then you might want to take your small pillows or blocks or books and place them underneath the legs on either side so your legs are resting on something. And then just go ahead and hold on to your ankles or shins or even your feet. You want to be able to sit up nice and tall initially. And then inhale, sit up even taller, breath rising, filling up your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in and start to hinge forward just a tiny bit. You're leading with your heart and chin as if you're moving outward towards the front of the room or out towards the front edge of your mat. Pause right here. We'll take another inhale, sit up even taller at this new angle. Exhale, draw belly in. That drawing in sensation is a way of supporting your body and preparing your body to move. In this motion, we're going forward a tiny bit more. And let that be the progression, a slow progression of movement. We take a nice inhale, fill up the lungs, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, engage belly for support. Ready to move, hinge forward a tiny bit. Now you can pause at any point. You don't have to go all the way down at all. You can just go down partially. Maybe just to the point where you have some sensation in your inner thighs. You might even feel this in your back. But it doesn't feel forced. You want to feel as if you could hold here for a significant amount of time. It doesn't feel like your body's going to get too tired too quickly. That's kind of a good gauging of your system, especially for this class. I often say, rather than working at 100%, and sometimes we even push harder or farther than 100%, so figure out what that is for you, but then dial it back to perhaps 60%. All right, take 2 more breaths right where you are. And then when you're ready, just go ahead and hinge your way back up so you're nice and tall in your seat, and just hold here. Take a breath or 2. All right, we're going to move our pillows or blocks out of the way here. And take your time, just make your way to your hands and knees. Whatever maneuver you need to make to safely get to your hands and knees. And then if you like, you can use your blanket for a little extra padding. I like to fold mine out into a rectangle so I can place both knees and both hands on the blanket like so. And then we'll inhale. Lift head and heart, just kind of like look forward and arch your back. Your pelvis tips back a little bit, creating this U shape in your back. Then as you exhale, we're going to round it out. Feel the roundedness in the back, belly button pulls up towards spine, chin towards chest. And then inhale, look forward, let the pelvis tip back, belly drops, heart opens. Exhale, round it all out. In this fashion, the pelvis kind of tucks underneath, tucking inward. And just continue doing this slowly. Take your time, really just moving at your own breath pace. And that same idea of moving at 60% or moving into each posture at 60%. So these are 2 poses that flow together. When we inhale and look up, this is cow pose. When we exhale and round it out, it's cat pose. So again, you don't have to force these movements at all. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. Collectively, we just call this cat-cow. And then when you're complete, just come to a neutral tabletop position, just holding here for a moment in stillness, and return to the awareness of your breath. If you are using some padding, go ahead and crawl off of your pad. You'll just set it to the side. You can use that at any time. We're going to come back to hands and knees and get set up for our next pose, downward facing dog. So you'll step your hands forward a little bit here so your hands are no longer underneath your shoulders. I also suggest spreading out your fingers pretty wide here so you feel a stretch between each finger. And then press with some firmness down into your mat to flatten your palms, opening your hands. And with that same pressure, feel the energy in your arms. Hold that sensation, tuck your toes or curl your toes under. Inhale to cow. That's when we looked forward, we slightly arch the back. Exhale into cat pose. Hold cat. And once you're there, lift your knees off the mat and send your hips up into the air. And this is downward facing dog. You might need to adjust your feet a little bit on your mat and your hands on your mat. Now we're not standing on one foot, but you might consider this a balancing pose. It does take some coordination and awareness of the body in space in order to hold the posture. So make sure there's a good base underneath you. Both feet, there's probably your toes, and then both hands. Now look at the space directly down or even up near your hands and just step your feet forward until your feet are flat on the ground. This might be just the center of your mat, which is fine. You might be in a deep forward fold here. We'll move. We're going to inhale, slide your hands up the legs, maybe to your knees or thighs, to extend your spine, rising up only halfway so you look similar to a table. Inhale. And exhale, just fold a little bit more. And when you fold, your knees can bend a whole lot. You might even let your back round. You can even let your head relax. If you're able, you certainly can touch your toes. You don't have to. And just take a couple of breaths here. I'm also going to suggest that you shift your weight forward a little bit towards your toes and let your toes grip the mat. When you grip the mat with your toes, it just helps to engage your legs, your hamstrings, so you can stay balanced on 2 feet in this forward fold. Now you're going to shift your weight back towards your heels. Bend your knees, let your hips drop a little like you're sitting down into a low chair. Look forward. As you're able, take your arms out to the side, then stand up, straighten your legs, reach up into the sky. Nice stretch there. Exhale, bring your arms down by your side. This is mountain pose. Let's hold here for a moment. Arms down by your side. Let's pay attention to the feet. Just like we did in that forward fold, just feel the full connection of your feet on the ground. Grip the mat a couple times with your toes. And just notice if you feel an even distribution of weight across both feet. Just be aware if you have shifted to one side or the other, or if you've got more weight in your heels or you're leaning into your toes. See if you can find that nice centering on both feet. So this is a balancing position, just basic standing, mountain pose. Okay, we're going to do that same simple flow. We're going to fold forward and then come back up. Whenever you're ready, inhale, reach your arms up into the sky, nice stretch. As we exhale, spread your wings, arms out to the side. Bend your knees and feel like you're sitting back into a chair and start to fold forward. Now again, you can touch your toes, but you don't have to touch your toes. Then inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, extending your spine to a flat back like a table. Exhale, let's fold again. Lean forward just a little bit so you can feel the gripping of your toes on your mat. And then lean back onto the heels so there's less pressure on the toes. As you do that, bend your knees, sit into your imaginary chair. Look forward, extend your arms out to the side. Inhale, standing up tall, straight legs, reach up into the air. Both arms, and then exhale, arms back down by your side. Very nice. And just hold for a moment. Reconnect to the ground. Feel the feet, good centering, both feet. Couple breaths. All right, we're going to move into a lunge, and it's Warrior One. We've been doing a variation of Warrior One. So we're going to start in our mountain pose, standing near the top of the mat. Let's begin with the softness in the knees. Let's put a little bend in the knees and keep that bend in the knees. Start shifting your weight into your right foot so you can feel that change. More pressure in the right foot. Press. And then lean forward just a little bit, And then start tiptoeing the left foot back. Just tap it back until you can balance on your big toe, or maybe you're on the balls of your foot. And you can see you don't have to step back too far. And then pivot the left heel, plant it into the ground, and that centers the body right here. Right knee will stay slightly bent. Your knee and toes are pointing forward. Left leg mostly straight, but the leg is turned out at an angle. That's what we want. Place your hands on your hips. You're going to push your pelvis down with your hands, and at the same time feel tall and lift it through the torso, making a little space in the belt line, and then start to turn so you're facing directly forward. Then inhale, extend your arms up into the air. We're going to exhale and hold the posture. So this is our variation of Warrior One. It's a lunge, but of course we don't have too much distance between the feet. And that we've done this on purpose so we can really feel the balance, but feel very stable in this balancing pose, this lunging position. Let's breathe in. We're going to exhale, bring the arms back down and just bring them back onto your hips here. Lean forward and put some weight and pressure into this front foot. So you can step this left foot next to the other, feet together. We're going to stand up tall. Let's take both arms up into the air. And then exhale, arms back down by your side. So our return to mountain pose. So that's our sequence. Let's do the other side. Let's start with a slight bend in the knees. Keep that bend in the knees. Start shifting weight into left foot. Plant it firmly. Feel that shift, energy, pressure in the left foot. Lean forward a tiny bit so you can start stepping the right foot back. Just tap it back, balancing on the big toe or the balls of the foot. Pivot right heel to the floor. Plant it into the ground. The body will shift and sit solid right into the center of this pose. Left knee and toes pointing forward. Right leg mostly straight, angled out to the side. Hands on hips, push pelvis down as you extend through the torso, get tall, and then turn mostly forward. Then we'll inhale, extend the arms up into the air, keep them up as you exhale. Keep breathing in and out. This is Warrior One variation. Feel the balance, noticing that there isn't too much weight in that back foot, there isn't too much weight in that front foot. It's even, it's balanced. Let's take a breath in. We'll exhale, bring the arms down, bring your hands to your hips. We're going to lean forward so we can put that pressure back into the left foot so we can step the right foot forward next to the other. We'll inhale, take both arms up into the sky, straight line in the body, and exhale, arms back down by your side. There we are. Back to our mountain pose. Reconnect to the earth, balance on 2 feet. All right, let's go through our segment here. Flowing. I'll break it down. Do your very best. We'll inhale, extend arms up into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees slowly, carefully, fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Touch your toes if you like, but you don't have to. My hands are at my shins. Inhale, slide hands up the legs to knees or thighs, extending spine, flat like a table. Exhale, fold. Keep folding. Let the back round. Bend your knees more because we need to get low enough to place the hands on the mat in front of you. Once they're there, start stepping both feet back to the back end of your mat until we're in a straight line. We call this plank pose, a high push-up position. Take a breath in. When you exhale, bend your knees a little. Send your hips up into the air. Downward facing dog. We need to find balance and some alignment, so as you need to, adjust your hands, adjust your feet. Keep a slight bend in the knees. That way the hips can continue to rise up. As the hips lift, press hands strongly into the floor. Relax your head. Take another breath in and out. We're going to start with a lunge sequence. So we're going to do our Warrior One again, second variation with more distance between the feet. Inhale, extend right leg up behind you, reach back, good energy. Exhale, bend the right knee. Bring the knee in underneath you towards your chest or chin. As you shift your body weight forward so your shoulders are over your wrists like plank, set the right foot down, it'll just be your toes. Set it down and then set your left knee down. This should allow you to actually pick up your right hand, reach back, pick up your right foot and replace it up a little higher on your mat. That's all you need to do. Place the right hand back down, re-lift the left knee off the floor, pivot or turn left foot to the ground, left heel to the floor. Now there's still probably some pressure and weight in both hands and the front foot. If we step the hands back a little bit, we can feel the energy shift and put more pressure in that back foot. That's what we want. Again, even distribution of weight between the feet. My torso is right over the right thigh. Walk one hand and then 2 hands up to your thigh to help lift. So we're at 45 degrees like this. Make sure the feet feel grounded and connected and there's balance, a centering. Then take both arms, reach out, reach up as you grow tall so you're perpendicular to the floor. As we exhale, just bend that right knee a little bit more. And there we are. Second variation of Warrior One. We'll hold for a couple breaths. You're going to feel perhaps a little bit more, because I know I do, in that left hip flexor area, a little stretch sensation. But that same centering and balance between the feet. Let's breathe in. We're going to exhale, slowly hinge, fold, bring hands down to the floor, and then relift that left heel. So you're going to kind of be what I call a runner's lunge. Push firmly and strongly into the ground with the hands. Lift your hips slightly so you can kind of unlock this right foot and slide it back into plank pose. Inhale here in the straight line. Exhale, bend knees a little, send hips into the air, downward facing dog. Adjust the feet, adjust your hands. When you're ready, inhale, extend left leg up, reach back. When you exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you, towards your chest, shifting your upper body forward, shoulders over wrist, like plank. Set the left foot down on the floor. Set your right knee down on the floor. Pick up the left hand so you can go get your left foot and place it up higher. This is just in case you can't get the left foot all the way up to the top of the mat on its own. Replant the left hand, relift the right knee. Pivot or turn right heel to the floor. More weight is probably forward, so step the hands back along the mat a little bit until you can really press firmly into the ground with the right foot. Your torso is aligned over the thigh. Walk your hands up to the thigh, lifting you up to about 45 degrees, extending through the spine. Be sure there's balance and evenness, a nice centering with the feet. Then we'll sweep the arms out and up into the air, perpendicular to the floor. That's our in-breath. As we exhale, we'll just bend this left knee, lunging, facing forward. And with that lunge, again, you might feel some sensation in the right hip flexor, the top of the thigh. A couple more breaths. We're going to inhale here. Exhale, we're going to carefully fold, hinging at the hips. So you can bring your hands back down to the ground. Once they've landed, let's relift the right heel. Press firmly into the ground with both hands. Lift the hips. Unlock the left foot so it slides back. Plank pose. Hold. Hold a little bit longer. This is good upper body building. We're building strength and endurance. Then set the knees onto the floor. Okay, we're going to do a back bend. You're going to sit back briefly in hero. This is just getting the weight off the hands. Sit off to the side onto the mat. Swing the legs around to the front here. Sit right in the center of your mat, and then you're going to lie down. Before you lie down, grab your blocks or a big pillow or cushion. I'm just going to adjust my mat here, and I'll join you. Okay, you're going to lie down with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Take a couple breaths, just like you did at the beginning of practice, so you can get realigned, reconnected, and even feel the ground underneath you. This is a little break from all that standing. When you're ready, you'll take a nice full breath in to fill up your lungs. Exhale, engage your belly and engage your feet, because you're pressing feet into the floor, lifting your hips high enough so you can slide your stacked books or blocks underneath you. Sit on your blocks. Just sit. All right, if you need to, you can adjust the feet, which I just did. Arms can just stay flat on the floor. And let's just relax here. Take some deep breaths. The intention of this pose is really to open the front side of the body. I like to think of it as a counter pose to sitting, because we sit a lot, sitting in chairs, sofas, cars, things like that. And so that can really tighten up the hip flexors, right at the tops of the thighs, your waistline, even your low belly. So sometimes they just need a little stretch. So you need to do something opposite of sitting. So back bends are kind of that option. And this is a nice variation of a bridge pose position by sitting on the blocks. I just call it supported bridge pose. Let's go ahead and take 3 more breaths here. Now we're going to stay in this position.
If you're on stacked blocks, stay there. If you're not, or if you're on something soft and need to come down to the floor, come down to the floor. Either one's correct. Stay stacked up onto your props or come down to the ground. Because we're going to do a leg extension. Let's start with the right leg. First, just pick up the right leg or right foot, and then just extend the leg like you're reaching for the ceiling with the right foot. Now, the leg doesn't have to go absolutely straight. If the knee needs to bend, bend it. Hold on to the leg if it needs a little extra stability. And that's all we're doing. We're just lifting the leg. You don't have to do any kind of stretching. You could, but you don't have to. You might get a natural lengthening of the hamstring just because the leg is up into the air, okay? We're not going to do anything extra with this. It's just a way of balancing upside down. We have a leg in the air. 2 more breaths. Notice too that I'm flexing my foot. It's not too forced, but I can feel like my heel is reaching for the ceiling, but I'm not doing it too strongly. Then go ahead and bend the knee and place the foot back down onto the ground. You can stay on your blocks. I'm just going to do this next one without the block so you can just see how this is the same. So if you might be lying flat on your mat, knees bent, feet flat on the ground. Let's do the left leg. So pick up the left foot and extend the left leg into the air. Same thing, the knee can be bent. Hold on to the leg if it needs a little extra support. Deep breathe. A light flex in the foot, as if you're reaching for the ceiling with the heel. By doing so, you actually are engaging kind of the back portion of the legs, the leg muscles, particularly the hamstrings of the thigh. And some deep breaths here. We don't have to do any extra movement or stretching or bending here. We just have the leg in the air. This is really kind of preparing us for some of the other balancing poses. Take 2 more breaths. And when you're done, just go ahead and bend the knee, bring the foot back down to the floor. Now, if you're on your blocks, press feet into the floor, lift your hips so you can move your blocks out of the way and then come down to the ground. And once we're all on the ground, take a few deep breaths as you make this reconnection to the earth. To move out of this pose, I'm going to invite you to roll onto one side of your body. Use your hands and press yourself up using the hands, and then just face forward again. And then just sit with your legs crossed, nice and tall right here. Take a couple of breaths. We're just taking our time to get up. So we were lying down, now we're in a seated position. We're going to make our way to hands and knees. So you might lean to the side again, come to hands and knees. Let's do another set of cat and cow, just 2 breaths. Inhale, look up, arching the back, a little U shape in the back body. Exhale, round. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. Come back to a neutral position. Step your hands forward, spread your fingers, press palms into the ground, strong arms. Tuck your toes underneath. Inhale, 1 more cow pose, look forward. Exhale into cat pose, hold cat. Lift your knees off the ground, lift your hips up into the air. Adjust your feet, maybe your hands. Just a brief pause in downward facing dog. Look at the ground and step your feet forward underneath you until your feet are flat on the ground. You'll be in a deep forward fold. Inhale, we'll slide hands up the legs, extending spine to your flat back like a table. Exhale, fold. Same thing we did earlier. Shift weight towards toes, grip the mat. Lean back into the heels. Once you're there, bend your knees, feel like you're sitting down, look forward, take your arms out to the side, straighten your legs, get tall, reach up into the air, good, and exhale, arms down by your side. Hold. Alrighty. Now as we've returned to standing, let's do some standing balancing postures. This is where we're going to use your wall, table, or chair. I'm going to bring my chair in. I'm actually just going to fold my mat here like this so I can bring my chair in so you can see it. So I have my right hand on the chair. So you can just kind of mirror me or do the same as me. So right hand on the back of your chair or a wall, okay?
But with the hand on the wall or the back of the chair, make sure your feet are still balanced, even, like we do regularly in a mountain pose, okay? Take a breath so you can feel that connection. Put a slight bend in the knees. Start shifting weight into right foot. Really plug down into right foot strongly so your left foot feels a little lighter off the ground or on the ground. We're going to pick up the left foot, bending the knee until your thigh is parallel to the floor right here. I'm flexing the foot. When you flex the foot, it just keeps the leg engaged. We're going to take the knee out to the side or even just the corner of the room. It might be to the side, corner is fine. Hold on to the knee with your hand. This is our first balancing position. Hold here. Use the wall because we're going to be holding this position for a while. This is why you want to have something sturdy next to you. Okay, now we're going to tree pose. You're going to place the foot. I'm going to give you some options. You can place the foot on your inner thigh if it reaches. That's a deep bend in the knee. If that doesn't work, slide it down below the knee so your foot is on your calf area right there. Less bend, might feel a little bit better. If you need even more stability, your toes can touch the ground, even though you're touching the wall or chair. Okay, so the knee kind of opens out to the side or corner of the room. It opens up the hip. This is tree pose with some variations. Let's go ahead and extend this left arm up into the air. Reach up, feel like you're being lifted into the air. This right hand, just keep it on the wall or chair. This is our balancing today. Now this right leg is going to get a lot of work, a lot of stabilizing work. I'll show you in a moment why. Inhale, reach a little higher with left hand. Exhale, bring the left arm back down. We're going to swing the left knee forward. Lift that knee again back to 90 degrees. Then plug the foot into the floor. Shift so you're balanced on 2 feet again. So you can feel that even distribution of weight. Now you're going to turn towards that chair or wall. We're going to do another balancing pose still on the right foot. Alrighty? I have to make sure I've got room behind me. I need to move my chair forward a little bit. Okay? Like so. So with your chair, I want you to reach out and just your fingertips are touching the top of the chair. Same with the wall. Okay, just reach out and just your fingertips are touching the wall. And then what you'll do is just kind of bend the knees and just kind of lean into it like this, okay? So I got good stability. Softness in the knees, put weight into the right foot, pick up, and almost like you're skating, just slide the left foot back and lift. Flex the foot. You're using that flexed foot to help engage the hamstring muscles so the leg stays engaged. You can stay just like this, at this angle. But if you want, you might even bend your elbows to help lower your chest a little bit and lift the left leg so you're a little bit more parallel to the floor. Be mindful of the right leg. Look, my right leg, the knee, very bent. Keep it bent. That way the thigh muscle is doing its work. That's what we want. And we can hold this because we've got the stabilization of the chair or wall. Everything is working strongly here. Reaching back through the left foot, it's flexed, the hamstring's engaged. Right leg is working strongly. Now, bend the left knee, that's the leg in the air. Bring the knee forward so you can plant the foot back down into the ground. Rebalance on 2 feet, knees bent, and we'll just stand up nice and tall. Right there. All right, so that's the first side. Okay, so that was all the standing and balancing work on the right foot. Now we'll do the left foot. I'm going to use the wall for this next one. So same thing. I'm going to reach out so your fingertips are touching the wall or the back of the chair. And then we're just going to kind of just lean into it. Okay, a little bend of the elbows, lean into it. Use that wall. Now we're putting weight and pressure into the left foot. Left foot, feel that? Skate the right foot back, slide and lift. Just a little bit off the floor so you can flex the foot. So it's energizing that leg. You can stay just like this, or bend the elbows, or even walk the hands down the wall if you happen to have a wall, and tip just a little bit more. Reaching back through the right heel. You might be even reaching through the crown of your head. You have the stabilization of your wall or chair. Deep bend of the left knee. So that leg is strongly working to support you in your balancing posture.
Breathe deeply. We're holding this a long time. That's why we're using these props as a way to help support. You're really working your muscles strongly by doing this. Now bend the right knee, the leg in the air. Bring the knee forward so you can set the foot down next to the other. Plant the feet so you're balanced. And once you're there, we'll stand up. Nice and tall. Alrighty. Now we'll do our tree pose. So we're still standing next to the wall here. Left hand along the chair or the wall. Balanced on 2 feet. Put a slight bend in the knees. Put weight into the left foot. Right there. When you're ready, we'll pick up the right foot so the thigh is parallel to the floor. Flex the foot so the leg is strong. We're taking the knee out to the side or corner of the room. Perfect. Hold on to the knee or shin for a moment. This also gives us an opportunity to sit up or actually stand up a little taller because I felt myself kind of slumping a little bit. So just get a little taller as you hold this position for a few more seconds. And we'll take this to tree by placing foot on the inner thigh, if that works for the knee. If not, slide it down below that knee, the left knee, so your foot is on the calf area right there, or use the ground. I'm going to place mine here. Really extend the right arm up into the air, reach. Deep breath. So this is our tree pose variation. Holding it. Feel the left leg strongly working, especially after doing that first balancing pose. By the way, that other pose was called Warrior 3. Let's bring the right arm back down. We're going to swing the right knee forward, lifting the knee so the thigh is again parallel to the floor. And then plant the foot into the ground. Plant the feet into the mat, balanced on 2 feet. And that's it. Good. I'm just going to move my chair out of the way here. Nice work. Okay, I've got one more balancing pose for you. It's going to be a variation of what we did a while ago. We did our Warrior 1 variation. Now we're going to do a slightly different version of that. Okay? Okay, standing at the top of you can always use a chair or wall for this too, if you need to. Slight bend in the knees. I'm going to break this down, but a little quicker. Bend in the knees. Shift weight into right foot. Lean forward, tap the left foot back, and maybe back a little bit more. Stay on the toes. Stay on the toes. Even the balls of the foot here. See how my toes are curling? Balls of the foot. So I've kind of shifted the weight back so I'm balanced here. We're going to take the arms up into the air, perpendicular to the floor. As we exhale, bend the elbows. Okay, just so the arms don't get too tired out here. Now, I call this a balancing lunge position, mainly because the back foot isn't entirely on the ground. I can already feel myself kind of wobbling here. If that's the case for you, let's do something. First, we're going to squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Squeeze, like you're holding on to like a ball or a block between the thighs. Squeeze. That's going to fire up the legs and your hips, and that's going to help with balance. And maybe that did. All right, we're going to hinge forward, putting weight into the right foot. Everything is facing forward, so we can just easily step forward, both feet together, stand up tall, extend the arms up into the air, reach, and then arms back down by your side. That's a variation of high lunge, high lunge. We stay on our toes rather than pivoting the heel to the floor behind us. Let's do the other side, breaking it down quickly. Bend the knees, put weight into the left foot, lean forward, tap the right foot back, and maybe a little bit more. Balls of the foot connect. See how I shifted the weight back so I feel kind of plugged in, centered right here on the balls of the foot behind. Let's inhale, take arms up. Exhale, bend elbows at 90 degrees so we don't tire out the shoulders. Hold for a moment and just check in. I can feel a slight wavering in my body. So that means I need to engage a little bit more with the lower half. Squeeze the imaginary block between the thighs. Also pull belly button in towards your spine, that core engagement. Those simple things might help with your balance and stability.
High lunge variation. Now we're going to hinge forward, putting weight into the left foot. Step the right foot forward, balance on 2 feet. Both arms up into the air, reach, inhale. Exhale, arms down by your side. Hold for a moment, because we're going to keep the body in motion and make our way down to the ground. Take a breath first. Here we go. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, folding carefully, rounding the spine, maybe touching your toes. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, extending spine. Exhale, folding enough. Take your time until you can place your hands on the ground. Then step both of your feet back, plank pose, long tabletop position. Inhale here. Exhale, bend knees a little, send hips into the sky, downward facing dog. Adjust the hands, adjust the feet. Let's go through another sequence. Inhale, extend right leg up behind you. As you exhale, bend the right knee, bring it in underneath you towards chest. If you can, place the foot somewhere behind the right hand, or do what we did earlier. We picked up the foot and placed it there. Pivot left heel to the floor. Shift the weight back, balanced on 2 feet, torso over thigh. If you're able, take your arms out to the side like airplane wings. Inhale, press into the floor with the front foot so you can rise up, reach into the sky, warrior 1. Exhale, our first warrior 2. So our torso is facing the left side of the room, still balanced on 2 feet. We're going to take this to side angle. Reach forward like you're going to reach out to get something. Angled upper body, rotate the arm so your right arm will come down to right inner thigh while your left hand reaches up into the air. Just a couple of breaths here. So just kind of going through a full body moving sequence here before we make our way back down to the ground. We're going to inhale here. Exhale carefully, turn to face the floor, bend slowly and carefully so you can place the palms on the ground. Relift that left heel so we're in our runner's lunge. Strong press into the ground with the hands, unlock the right foot, slide it back, plank pose. Breathe in. When you exhale, bend your knees, lift your hips into the air. Downward facing dog. Hold. When you're ready, inhale, extend the left leg up. Just reach back. It doesn't have to lift high at all. Exhale, bend the left knee. Bring it in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your upper body weight forward. If you can, setting left foot somewhere up near the left hand. Turning right heel to the floor. Step the hands back a bit so you can get planted into the ground with that right foot. Torso over thigh. Take your arms out to the side like airplane wings. Press foot into the floor. As you inhale, rise up, reach up, warrior 1. Exhale, turn torso towards the right side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. Warrior 2. Hold for a moment. Side angle. We reach out over the left leg. Angled upper body. Rotate the arm so your left arm is down on the inside of the left leg, while your right hand with some energy is reaching towards the ceiling. Couple breaths here. This is a nice hip opener as well as a nice side body stretch. Getting some good movement through the body. We'll breathe in and our exhale to carefully turn towards the floor, bending slowly, palms to the ground, rise up onto tiptoes behind you for the runner's lunge. Plant hands into the floor, feel the energy in your arms, lifting hips, unlock the left foot, slide it back, plank pose, hold. Take a breath, hold here a little longer. Then softly bring knees to the floor. Sit back briefly, hero pose right there. Slide off the heels onto the ground so you can swing the legs around to the front. There we are. Find a seat in the center of your mat. Go ahead and lie down onto your back. Bring your blocks, have them nearby. You might want to have other props nearby too, maybe like a blanket for the back of your head if you'd like, or even your back body. Same thing. We're going to lie down with knees bent, feet flat on the ground. Take a couple of breaths first, just to settle into the pose. We're going to do our bridge pose once again. Whenever you're ready, take a nice full breath in to fill up your lungs. Exhale, engage your belly, engage your feet, lifting the hips off the floor high enough to slide your blocks or books underneath you. Hold here. Consider this not only an opening for the front side of your body, but also our
progress towards the end of the class. Maybe some relaxation here, so deep cleansing breaths. The heart space, your lungs are pretty opened here, so this is a great opportunity to take some deep breaths. You're welcome just to hold here. You can do those leg extensions if you like, just an option. You certainly do not have to. We've already done the work. This is our resting work. We're going to finish with a couple of hip openers and a twist, and then final relaxation. Each of these segments you can hold as long as you'd like. Move through them as quickly as you'd like and just come to relaxation if you want. You can even skip some of these portions of the practice if you like. Coming out of bridge, just pressing feet into the floor to lift the hips, remove your blocks out from underneath you, and come back down safely to the ground. You can hug both knees into chest. Let's do a hip opener. So just hold on to the knees or shins, flex your feet, and then just take the legs open. Just open the legs to either side of the room and just hold. And this is a nice inner thigh stretch. Gets into the hips a little bit. Sometimes what I like to do, either just hold for the stretch, or I do what I call a kind of this bicycle pedaling, like I was on a bike, like a motorcycle, even, you know how it's more rounded and you have to get the legs around, or even like a horse. Think about that. Just the girth of the horse, now your legs would be over the sides. Kind of think of that. But then do this little bicycle pedaling sensation. That will get into the leg sockets there. That's just an option, okay? You can just hold for the stretch if you'd like. A couple more breaths. And when you're ready, you can bring the knees back together towards center. Hold. We're going to take both knees over to the left side towards the ground as you extend right arm to the right side. This creates a twist. Now, if the legs don't touch the ground, that's okay. You can use a block or a pillow or a folded blanket or something and tuck it underneath the left knee or even between the knees, just to create that support. Wherever you are, deep breaths. Go ahead and take 3 more deep breaths. You're welcome to stay here longer if this feels good, but when you are complete, just make your way back to center. Hold center for a moment so that everything realigns. Coming back to this balance and alignment. And then when you're ready, taking knees over to the right side, use props as you need to, blocks, blankets, just to tuck underneath the right leg or between the knees, and then extend left arm off to the left side. You can do the same thing with the left arm. Maybe the arm doesn't reach the ground. Place something underneath it so it rests on something, so it's just not hanging out in midair. And then return to breath. And perhaps 3 more breaths. And of course, you're welcome to stay here longer if this feels good. And when you're complete, just come back up to center, hold for alignment. And this is where you can decide where you'd like to go for your relaxation pose. Now you can certainly just come to Shavasana. Shavasana, by extending your legs out front on the ground, arms rest down by your side. You can do that. But if you need extra padding or support, then you may want to use your props. I'm going to roll and sit up, and bring in my bolster, and actually place it underneath my knees here. So you can You can do this with a rolled up towel or blanket too, just so, because sometimes it just feels better to have a little bend in the knees and then your legs kind of draped over it. And I'll use the blanket for a little headrest, for a little softness back there. Okay, so do whatever you want, whatever feels good. So you can actually lie here very comfortably, fully released and relaxed. Now you can keep your eyes opened and just gaze upward. You can certainly close your eyes and take a journey inward. Wherever you are, pay attention to your breath. Slow, steady breaths, feeling your whole body and mind relax. Stay here as long as you'd like. Continue to feel the full relaxation of your whole body. Check in to notice if there's any engagement in any part of your body. If there's any tension. If there is, imagine sending a deep breath into that area of the body to help it to relax fully. You're welcome to stay here even as I end the practice. Stay where you are. And just return to your breath. Sometimes our minds like to wander when we come to these relaxation poses. So if that's the case and you started to think about what you're going to be doing next, just take a deep breath to bring you back to the present moment. This place of full release and relaxation. Stay here as long as you need to. When it is time to move, start with breath, taking 5 slow, deep breaths. As you're breathing slowly in and out, feel movement also move throughout your body. When it is time to move, take your time, move in slow motion. If you're on your back, maybe you carefully roll to one side. Continue to move slowly and guide your way up to seated, maybe using a block or a pillow or a blanket to sit on. Sitting up nice and tall, maybe legs crossed, maybe legs extended, and do feel the extension of your spine. Arms relaxed down by your side, arms resting in your lap. Good, let's do one more breath and movement together. We'll inhale, extend arms up into the air, reach. When you exhale, bring your hands together and down to your heart. And hold here in stillness for several breaths. And as we come to the close of this portion of our journey together, we bow, saying, Namaste.